And now I am joined by Chase Diamond, co-founder of Boundless Labs, which is an email marketing agency that has driven over $75 million in email attributable revenue, which is a massive number. Chase, today's topic is email automation, so I feel like you're a great person to be talking to. Welcome to Growth Decoded.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Doing well, thanks. I'm pumped to be here. Email automation, in my opinion, is probably one of the most important topics, so can't wait to dive into it.
Yes, absolutely. I guess let's start at the beginning then, right? What is email automation?
Yeah, so kind of at a high level, and I'll give you a few examples of different types of emails in 1 second. But email automation really is the ability to send an email based off of time, event, or behavior that's triggered to the subscribers with the actual information that they triggered. So there's 3 different types of emails. I'm going to kind of cover this. So the first is an email campaign, and that's a one-time send to a group of contacts. Think about a holiday blast or promotional send, right? A campaign is different than email automation, right? That's one side of the house. The next 2 that I'm about to talk about right now, these are under the umbrella of email automation. And the next one's called an email automation or email flow. And these are emails that are triggered every single time a certain behavior occurs. So think about someone adding to cart, being on your list, that will trigger what we call an abandoned cart sequence. Or for example, if you have some kind of form that collects people onto your list and they enter their email, that will trigger what we call the welcome series for non-buyers, right? And then the third type of email is also an automated email. Most people don't talk about it as much, but they're super important just because the open rate and the engagements with these are super high. And that's called a transactional email. It's very similar to a flow or automated email, and it is an automated email, but it's specifically for activities after people purchase. So think about an order confirmation or some kind of shipping confirmation. These emails typically are sent from like a Shopify, a WooCommerce, WordPress, BigCommerce. You could probably have it in an ActiveCampaign or another ESP, but those emails typically happen if you're an e-commerce brand from the actual e-commerce platform itself. So that's kind of like the 3 types of emails. And again, email automation basically is the ability to automatically send an email to a specific subscriber or a group of subscribers based on some kind of action event or time.
Gotcha. Yeah. So it sounds like, I mean, it's just this kind of this all-encompassing, or not all-encompassing, but very broad topic or process that you can use to your advantage.
Yeah, Chase nailed it. So there are a few key points there. When we talk about email automation, we're typically talking about 3 different flavors of automation triggers. Those are time, behavior, or characteristics. Let's start with time. When do you want this email to send? If we look at behavior, it's thinking about when someone does or doesn't do something. Then you want to send an email. Or characteristics. All people who are this, and this, but not that, they get this email. Now in email automation, we're also talking about 3 flavors of email type. And each type of email can take into account the 3 triggers. So let me explain this a little bit. The first type of email is an email campaign. Email campaigns are one-off sends to a list of people. Now, this could be a newsletter or a product announcement or a deal or really anything that you want to send out as an ad hoc communication. The automated process here is the sending. Now, this automation can use the time trigger, right? You decide when you want to send it. It can take into account the behavior. Perhaps you're a clothing company and you only want to send to customers who have bought from you in the past. And it can take into account the characteristics of the list. Maybe this sale is for women's jackets, so you only want to send the email to people who have bought women's jackets and live in an area that experiences weather conditions that would necessitate such a clothing item. So you write the email, or you design the email in an email builder, and then you indicate which list, group, or segment of contacts you'd like to send it to, and then boom, you send it. Email campaigns. The second kind is emails that are part of an automation, also called a sequence or a flow. Choose your verbiage. At ActiveCampaign, we call these automations. Now in this type, the automated piece is based on a trigger. Automation builders vary, but here's the stuff that can trigger an automation in ActiveCampaign. So you can see here, some triggers are based on time, like the date-based and RSS updated trigger. Some triggers are based on behavior. Okay, a lot of them are based on behavior, the entire top 2 rows. And some are based on characteristics, tags added or removed, or when a custom field in a contact profile changes. These triggers might vary depending on your email automation tool of choice, and there are limitless additional options when you start integrating your other tools and pulling in information about your contacts from those other tools. And this brings us to the third email, the transactional email. Now these emails are primarily action or behavioral based, right? If someone makes a purchase or signs up to redeem something, if they take an action where it has been implied that something else will be reciprocated, boom, there's a transaction. But you can still find ways to incorporate the timing and the characteristics into these emails. For example, if someone purchases from you, you'll want to send an order confirmation immediately. That's expected, and we know that in order to create a good customer experience, you must meet or exceed the customer's expectations. But what about after that? There's a shipping confirmation, but then there's also an opportunity to send an email about the product or the thing that someone bought, and you can time that. A day after a purchase? 2 days after the purchase? Or maybe you want to send some FAQs that they might have once the thing arrives. Or maybe it's just a, hey, you bought this thing, and you know what goes really great with this thing? Some other things. After all, 49% of US shoppers said that in the past 3 months, they bought a product that they did not initially intend to buy after a brand made a personalized recommendation. Notice how that last example took into account the characteristics of the customer. The transaction could be the trigger for additional emails that bring in the 3 flavors of automation emails. Okay, so it's becoming increasingly clear that there are, well, infinite email automation options for you to create and incorporate into your email marketing strategy, and options can be overwhelming. Remember Hick's Law from our landing page episode? The more options you have, the longer it takes you to make a decision. The longer it takes you to make a decision, the more likely you are to make the easiest decision at that moment, which is not to make a decision. Yes, that applies to you too when you've got to make decisions about anything. So narrow it down. But how?